Everybody, welcome to the show today. We got a beautiful Sunday going on, and we got two beautiful specimens in the house, and they are in the place to be, John and Alex. What is going on, fellas? Thanks for being here.
What's up, brother? How are you?
For a Sunday night, just doing it big, baby. Living my best life as best as I can do it, man.
That's all we can do. Hey.
Exactly. So, first two topics coming out the gate right here. We were just talking before the pre-record or the recordings, whatever you want to call it. The show before the show.
Yeah.
Pre-show before the show, whatever you want to say. Cowboys and Eagles tonight. Eagles are hot, baby.
Yeah,
Cowboys playing good too with the backup QB. What is going on?
And keep the backup in there. Keep it rolling, man. If something's working, don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't fix it. But we already know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, man.
So, Alex, what are you, your NFL background? Are you a diehard Eagles fan, Cowboys fan, or are you just an NFL fan? What's up?
Born into Cowboys. So I was born into it. Stay with. What was that, John? What are you? You're a Redskins fan, are you?
No, I like winning teams, and so far you picked two that don't do it. So, I bought into Brady a long time ago just because
he's amazing.
He's good at what he does, and he's consistent.
Yep.
Never was a fan of Belichick, and I loved how he absolutely crushed Belichick's legacy when he left to Tampa Bay. And I won a Super Bowl. It's like, really, what did Bill do? What did Bill do?
Exactly. Right.
Bill had to be doing a whole lot, though. I mean, be a head coach. I mean, he's pretty what do you call it? Legendary in the NFL.
Yeah.
True.
Right? I mean, even though they could have been cheating, but what year was it when they were could have been cheating back in?
Well, at least 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow, it wasn't that many, was it?
I mean,
it was pretty
couple deflated balls, you know.
There you go.
We've all been there. We're over 30.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? Ain't that what the experts say?
Yeah, I still call him the GOAT though.
Tom or Bill?
Okay, talk to me.
Tom.
Oh yeah, Tom.
Yeah,
Tom the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I'm not saying Tom's not good by any means or by any. Yeah, but yeah, for sure. For what is he? 41, 40?
Dude, he's 45. Like he is.
40, he ain't 45, is he? He's in his 40s, I know. But for still playing at this level, in a pro,
chat, I'll Google.
And some people can argue that, oh, well, he's quarterback, he doesn't get hit often or whatever. But look where he came from. You know, what was he, like a 6th, 7th round pick or whatever, and then came in, decided like, hey man, I'm going to make this my life. I mean, remember the old photos of Tom Brady where it looks like he just got the he does not look like an athlete. He looks like a fat bod, right? And now look at him now, which, you know, now I don't know if he's, you know, money changes people, I guess, but obviously the NFL changes people, but you got to do some work in a sense anyway to be at a certain level, and also for like what you said, Alex, to be called the GOAT.
He's a beast, man. I'll take it.
You know,
I love watching him play, man. I like how he can play, you know, be down at the first part and come back cool, calm, collect, and win a game. His mindset is amazing for anybody that can be like that. You think about it, man, to not get in your feelings, not get emotional about the situation, and just get in that flow, and it's a wrap.
Yeah, mindset, everything, brother.
Yeah. I believe in it 100%. If you can go into that flow state, and that's why I watch people like him, Kobe, you know, the Mikes and all that, because they get in that mind state. Nothing else matters. But that's why I give him the GOAT, because he goes above and beyond the second half, no matter how, you know what I mean, how much he's down game.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off so many times. So.
Yeah. You brought up a great point. So, you know, you talked about like Kobe and Mike, and you got Tom Brady, and like these people are arguably considerably the GOATs of their sports, right?
Right.
So, you know, there's arguments out there with like Michael Jordan, like he hated to lose anything. You know, did you ever watch the Last Dance documentary?
And it was crazy.
You know, he was like throwing quarters against the wall with that random, I forgot who it was, but you know, he hated to lose. And then there's some stories I've heard that he was playing pool and, you know, pool halls or whatever they are. But, you know, if he lost, he was going to play you all night until he beat you.
Yep.
But I guess, I don't know if that's my question or my point or whatever, but to be great at anything, do you have to have that type of mindset that like, hey, I'm sacrificing family, time, Netflix, you know, life accomplishments just to be great at my one thing. And that's what one and above all comes out ahead.
I would say 100%, along with consistent, you know what I mean? Being consistent in whatever it is. You know, like the Kobe, he stayed consistent in what he did, and he got rewarded for it. But like you said, their strong mindset, that's how they became a winner. You know what I mean? And then people, my thing is, people will not, you know, they don't see all the failures they did. They just see the accomplishments. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? All the that's what I tell my daughter all the time is like, nobody sees where we started. They just see like when you win and it's like, oh, they're good. Nobody ever says you're doing a good job when the whole time is you building. They don't see that. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
But I don't know the mindset, bro.
It's a long, hard road, and like, you know,
That's
when
right.
you're doing the like, I read Kobe's book, and it was, you know, the Dharma mentality, you know, and about, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. and getting in practice and stuff like that, and it's like the stuff that nobody else was doing. And I don't know if you know this guy, but he was a kicker for the Detroit Lions, and I had him on my podcast, Sean Conley.
Right.
And he was talking about Barry Sanders, and he played with Barry Sanders for a while. And Barry Sanders was one of those guys in the locker room that, you know, when everyone was like partying or getting real hyped up for the game or whatever, Barry Sanders was in the corner reading a book. And it was like, you know, he was an outlier to the thing. It's like, man, you got to watch out. These people are monsters that, you know, they're sitting there just chilling. And Barry Sanders just cool and collective and knew what he was doing. And it was so cool to watch, you know, listen to this guy speak about Barry, just how he was not just trying to be part of the social norm, I guess.
Like the masses.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, but he was just like, hey, I know I want to be me. And, you know, I'll let my talking be on the field. You know, I don't have to be in the locker room hyping up. And then I guess that's my point, is that do something different that everyone else is doing. And maybe that's part of greatness, right?
And that's what stands out. I believe that 100%. That's why I try to tell my daughter, it's like, being weird is okay. It's cool. You got to think of you. Don't follow the sheep. You know what I mean? Don't follow everybody else. Stand out. Somebody's got to make the trends. You know what I mean? Why won't it be you? You know what I mean? So just like that, that's just amazing. Just like you said about Kobe too. It's like I watch like different things on YouTube of how he will see somebody is in the gym. He's going to outwork you and then stay after you. You know, because you was just in the gym, just to let you know that I'm going to outwork you. It's their mindset. So, you know, it's just, I believe it's all starts in the mind. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I agree, because, you know, if you're, what is that quote that you are the only person that you talk to the most every day, or you talk to yourself the most out of anybody in the world, or something like that.
Only person you sleep with every night.
Exactly, John. Yep. So whatever you're telling yourself day in and day out, right? Is what is going on in your head and what you're living with, whether it be positive thoughts or negative thoughts. But if you're telling yourself, like you said, like, it's cool to be weird, you know?
Yep.
But it's really hard it's really easy for us to say that now, being, you know, I'm mid-30s. John, you're right there with me. Alex, I'm like, yeah. Same. So, you know, somebody who's coming up in high school, you know, where that's just like, oh, man, I gotta be cool. I want everyone to like me and stuff. And which I'm generally speaking, of course.
Right.
But that's usually not what, you know, like you said, you had a daughter. Like, that's usually probably not most likely what 95% of people are probably thinking, right? Oh, I want to be popular. I want to be cool. I want to be in the cool crowd, right? Yeah.
I always say that's like your learning years. You know what I mean? Because I think of it now, if I would have listened to my dad or my granddad, I would have saved myself so much trouble. And as I'm raising my daughter, I know she's not going to listen to it. She's got to go through that hardship. And that's what makes or break us. You know what I mean? So I think some of those things that we have to go through to realize it. But if you sit back and think, but you in your 20s, you're above the world. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, after lesson, but you got to grow. And I think some of it, you know, we have to take those hard lessons and grow from them. And like you said, as we get to our 30s now, and, you know, if y'all got advice, I'm listening, I'm all ears, because I see what you're doing, what, you know, I can do it, apply it. You know what I mean? So why sit back and say, you know, I'm not going to listen to him like what I would have done in my 20s. I can do it this way.
Sure.
You know, so, but yeah, it's definitely growth and development.
Alex, what's one of the biggest lessons? You know, we're talking about 20s, 30s, even high school, whatever, kid, whatever. What's one of the biggest lessons? Because according to John, so some of the audience and listeners know that you're a pretty big TikTok star right now, right?
Right.
A huge following on TikTok. So, you know, growing your TikTok and you got your Instagram right there on your shirt and stuff, like, you know, and, you know, we're talking about work and mentality and mindset and stuff, you know, being the younger version of Alex, what is one lesson you would have known that you know now that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
Man, just definitely staying consistent in whatever I start. There are certain things when I was younger, I started and never finished. You know what I mean? Just knowing that I ain't got to be the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got to be the best looking person in the room, but I'm gonna outwork everybody in this room. So that would be what I would tell myself is like, you can do it, man. Because I set a goal in my head and I was like, all right, I need 1,000 followers. Once I hit the 1,000, I'm like, man, okay, well, what's stopping me from getting 5? And then, double time, triple time, double down. And you realize once you get to these levels, you can do it. So it's just being consistent. And I tell that to everybody. And whatever it is you love, just stay consistent. You will master it after some time, but you just got to stay consistent in that because you can lose it too. So I'll definitely tell myself just to stay consistent and keep ground and pounding for sure, bro.
Yeah. John, I don't want to leave you out. And I know you have your week with John W., but we can promote that a little bit too. But what is maybe the same question towards you? I mean, I know you're kind of fresh into the game with, you have, I don't know how many episodes of your week right now, but is there something now that now that you wish you would have known later? Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, I wish I would have known that I should have closed out the chat and changed it to who is talking for the recording. So that's really, a lot of the technical skills are something that I wish I would have learned more about, and really what platforms I wanted to focus on and target on. There's another TikToker, Erica something, but she's like, learning with Erica. She's like the lawyer that does.
I know you're talking about the lawyer girl.
And she's getting ready to launch a business-minded podcast. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm trying to get the legitimacy that she has, because like she's put a lot of videos out on YouTube, which she just posted how much she's made on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and like the numbers they're in. Now, she didn't do any like sponsorships in any of those numbers, but she's pulled down over 200K this year. And I don't know about you, that's real money to me.
Ooh,
that's an easy $250,000, no big deal.
I mean, it's something to look at. And you think about these people going and doing this, and the greats in sports and things like that, and what they're doing, and it's their mindset, what they're visioning. And you will be seeing some of the business-minded podcasts. Don't worry, that'll be a separate thing other than your week. Your week's where I get to smart off, and I'm actually going to start being funny on the show instead of just telling funny jokes that I write and produce myself. Alex understands that entirely because he does all his own writing, producing, and stuff. But being able to go and do the technical work, being comfortable in front of the camera, like that, being in front of the camera, I don't know about you guys, like I never had an issue with that, having like being up on stage, never had the stage shyness, stage fright, stuff like that. But being able to manipulate and control, making sure that everything's good to go. There's one of my episodes where I was laughing about the fact that I completely boofed an hour and a half with Adam, where we were talking and it just sounded like underwater garbage. And I know, Alex, you've been doing this like officially 3 years, but more like 6.
Something like that, yep.
And you've ironed out a lot of the issues that you've had over the last years. And like Chris, you're coming up on that big 2. And I remember like sometimes your audio was garbage, but now like every time I talk to you, it's clean, it's crisp. I see Alex, like all of his cuts are nice and fresh. And I'm like, all right, that's where I want to get to for just making sure that it's like an enjoyable experience for the watcher.
That's it, man. It's this time. And guess what, man? With my my setup here when I'm streaming, I'm still learning. It's always something that goes wrong. I told my friend, I was like, I'm be working for the Geek Squad, man. All this stuff I be fixing every time I think, but it's just that learning experience. But now I know certain things, like you said, man. It's just that time, man, and staying consistent in it. And I know you said something about numbers, about what she was making. I always tell people too is, I realized this as I got older. I always chased the money. And I realized, man, you chase money, you always chase money. Chase your dreams, chase your goals, and you get rewarded for it. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Kobe's, Mike, I used them. They were so good at what they do. They got paid for it.
Sure.
But, you know what I mean? So I always tell, people that's coming in, because they look at numbers, and numbers, it gets in our mind from like analytics and stuff like that. We have to look at them, but you got to realize, you got to take a step back and realize 100 people is 100 people. Oh man, I got 1,000 on this one, only 100. If you got 100 people in this room, I bet you a lot of people still can't talk to 100 people in this room on stage. So you really, between that and the money, you just gotta just get in your flow, do your thing, ground and pound, and keep it going.
Big John called me. When'd you call me? Like Wednesday, Tuesday? I don't remember. Well, that's besides the point. But and I was kind of been down on my podcast, right? Because I've been so focused on my analytics, right? And that it's starting to get where I first started, I didn't care about the analytics. It was just like, hey, it's fun. I'm doing it. I'm networking. I have my friends on. We can bullshit. We can have a couple drinks and just talk about whatever comes up, right? And you're here lately. I've been so involved with the analytics that it's starting getting in my head like, oh, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Like, why am I doing this? My downloads fell. To be vulnerable right here, that downloads fell pretty hard. It's like, what's going on here? I don't get it. I thought things were good, right? But with the consistency and stuff, and like, am I having fun? And like John asked me that. He goes, "Hey, are you having fun, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah." Parts of it kind of is like I am having fun, but parts of it's like, well, are you having fun because of the numbers? And it was like, but when I just say, hey, put the numbers aside, but we have conversations like this. I get to hang out with the boys and get to hang out with whoever I have on the podcast. Like I was just talking about Sean Conley and tell me cool stories about Barry Sanders and stuff.
Right.
Wow, that's more worth it to me. But yeah, I mean, do you want to make money? Of course, everybody wants to make money and chase all that. But I think to your point, Alex, is that you just got to keep consistent and stay grinding and stay having fun with it and not worry about the analytics and stuff like that. And hopefully they'll come.
Yeah, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, you're fine, man.
It's just the mental it has on you. I have I have been viral before, but mine's always been like a gradual up like this. And then I go to the straight and up again. I have seen the ones that went straight up viral and you never see them again because they don't know what to do once you get to the top. So it's best to build and take some falls. You know what I'm saying? Everybody win championships. You don't. So my thing is just like I told John, it was, what do I tell you? Last time I was in podcast, I had like 80 million in 30 days. Wow. From shorts and stuff like that. Then it went down to 1 million or 2 million. So, and I told my girl, I was just like, I'm just going to keep working. I know how this works. You're not going to hit, every ball at the park. So I kept at it. Now I'm back up to 15 million. And it started, my trend is going back up. And then I finally cracked across 500K on YouTube. So it was just like, you have to stay consistent. The numbers, you got to look at it as like, they're there for you to help you and see the things that you need to do, but don't always focus on that. Don't always focus on the comments because you're going to see people telling you what negative stuff. You know what I mean? Push and pull. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want to piggyback on that. I say the only numbers you should be concerned about, and this is something you've told me 2 years ago, and you should have grabbed me behind the head and shoulders behind the shack and beat me. Only numbers that are ultimately what you should worry about is how much you're producing content, how much content you're putting out. Because you told me, like, dude, every time I open up, like I'm happy to follow you. Now all I see is your stuff, and I'm like, holy shit! Like it's all there. But you make what 10, 15 pieces of content a day
every day, and it's always like changing. It goes from like me writing something to me using some viral content, just adding little bits in it just to be able to put it out there. And I got all this from Gary Vee. Like I'll just be listening to him and he's just like, okay, this is hot right now. So it'd go to like TikTok was hot. It was giving out, because you can post some on TikTok and go 1 million views. That's not likely like on Instagram. They're trying to now like YouTube Shorts, and everybody is trying to push that way and figure that out. So certain things you can go, but it's just constant. You will see me on TikTok, Instagram, all that. And that's why you always see me on my socials. And every video, no matter whoever uses it, they will have a social on my shirt, my brand, because, I have meetings with like TikTok. We used to have meetings and they told us it's like, if you got a bottle of water in there, don't put a brand on there for free. Why? And then I started thinking, I'm like, why am I wearing Nike on all my videos? They're not paying me. Not saying anything bad about Nike, but you're not paying me.
They're not paying you yet.
Yeah, just like you ever see one of the football players or some basketball players go up in their conference and like a Gatorade sitting there, they're like, hey, move the Gatorade. Because
I've seen that.
No, it's not being like, I don't like that. It's like, you don't sponsor me, so why give it out for free? So everywhere I go, you see some kind of shirt on me, and that's my social. So I'm building my brand. So that's the main thing, and post all across all platforms. And that's what I say. The numbers, sometimes they up and down, but you're going to see my face. So Alex,
when building your brand, I thought you said touched on it earlier, and you said, you got to 1,000 followers, and you said, hey, why can I not do 5,000 followers? And then after that, it's like, why can I not do X, Y, and Z and keep building it? So, and I guess I'm getting this kind of from the stock market tips or whatever that I've heard before. And it's basically like, hey, your first 1,000 is going to be the hardest you have to make, right? Like that's going to be where the grinding is and the writing is, like you said. But after that, when you start producing content and stuff, that is it. And I guess that's my question: is that easier after you get to a certain amount of followers or likes or whatever it is, views, and then it kind of starts to snowball effect. This keeps building up from there.
See, that's what I was telling John is like you just said, the first 1,000 was my hardest because I did not understand nothing. Nothing. It was like I was just trying to go live. I'm just like, I get 1,000. I went live and then it cut off because I got banned. But showing my daughter, I didn't even know she could be in about banned. I was like, oh my God, my world's over. But getting to my first 1,000 was my hardest. But like you said, once you figure that out, then it's like, then you get in your mind, you set another goal. Bigger, 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 bigger. Sure. So I always went from 1,000, I could be 10,000. When I got there, then I jump. But that's just the main thing. I stayed consistent in it, and I was learning through the pitfalls of all of it. So that's the main thing to me, man, is just that you got to stay consistent in whatever you love doing. So, and mine just love making videos. I like making people laugh. So you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I can do this on a wide scale. I open up these apps. I see these kids on here. They doing it. Why can't I do it? You know what I mean? I know I can do it. So, if somebody else is doing something, you can do it. Just mirror what they do. Don't envy what they do. Watch what they do. That's what I do. I learned. I sent something to John about a podcast because podcast video is getting big. And I just noticed, and I was listening to certain things. It's like on YouTube, it's like they're going to be pushing that soon. So anything, I'm like Gary Vee. I listen, and then he's like, get on there early. I'm like, all right, shorts is popping or Reels is popping right now. Now I jump back over there to TikTok. It's popping. So you just got to be there early and make the move. So
yeah, that's kind of been my new thing lately, is trying to catch the next wave of what's new, right? Or what's going to be next, the big thing. And that, you said YouTube shorts, and we have TikTok and Instagram and obviously podcasts. But I don't know if John and I were talking about this, but I can't remember that, with the metaverse coming up, that is like the metaverse podcasting going to be the new thing where you're actually inside the metaverse podcasting and you have your avatars out there, and people would actually kind of sit in the same room as you are right now while we host the show or whatever you want to say. And like, it's like, and that's kind of what I'm trying to find out, is like catch the new wave, because there's like 4 million podcasts right now. And I was touching, this is kind of what I was touching with John too, that it's almost so hard right now in a podcast game anyway, to get ahead of the curve, just because if Brad Pitt or Tom Brady, whoever said they want to start a podcast, well, even if it sucks, right, as a host or whatever, but most people are just going to go to that podcast just because of their drawing power. Is that right? Drawing power. Yeah. And so star power, I guess. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That just because of who they are, and it doesn't matter. People are going to listen just because of who they are. But I guess that's my next thing though, is that, do you think that, what do you think is the vision? I mean, what is the future of social media? What is the future of podcasting? What do you
think?
I want to jump in.
Okay, yeah, good. Go ahead.
And then hear Alex on this. All right. So you asked me, like, what would I like to have learned? And it's something that I think Alex does really, really well. And I want to preempt his answer a little bit. So being able to take, like, I love your interviews, and I think that one of the things I saw right now on YouTube is like really kind of trying to hit that sweet 12-minute mark. Like there's the sub a minute, 15 seconds for shorts, I think, but there's sizes of content, and there's like the 12-minute mark, the 1-minute mark, the 15-second mark, and then of course like the extended 40 plus. But when you have the content and you take it and you're chopping it up and reusing it, I think that's where you start being able, like having the skill to take and edit your content to fit what they're looking for and then throw in some hashtags is really what I think is going to be like getting ahead of the next wave. Because when you have that skill, it's just like turning on a dime. Alex.
Right. Man, I definitely use a lot of different content, old content, resurface it, see what's viral, put my little bit in there. I mean, it's just always just learning and trying to mold to the right thing. Like I can't get it right all the time, but I just keep producing content, man, across. And then I make mine all out of app. So I'm able to whatever make it and then produce it, put it to every app that's out there. So it makes it a little bit easier. I make one content and I post to all 5 socials. There you go. And I just keep it rolling that way too. And like I said, but then when you find that viral one, something about the algorithm, it loves it. You chop it down, change it around slightly, throw it back out there. There's multiple times that you can see some of my videos that got 1 million some plus views, and I just resurface it a little bit, put it back there. It loves it. It does it again. So there's another thing, man. It's just you got to just keep putting it out there.
Alex, you have a format you usually try to stay with. You said earlier you like making people laugh. I mean, is it more comedic wise or motivational or inspirational?
All right, my thing is I start off, I was like, I know I'm funny. Okay, I start putting out stuff. It wasn't hitting. So I had to figure out the app. So TikTok was a dancey, trendy app, right? So it's just like, all right, cool. So I got on that. Then I started, figuring out the dances. I had, put my comedy, throw my comedy in there a little bit and work it in there. So it took a while. I had to figure it out, get the ball rolling. Once I got that snowball rolling, I kept pushing my stuff that I wanted to put out there along with what they want to see. Then I mixed it, and then I kind of, once you build that strong base, then I can kind of mold it a little bit more how I want to go. But it's always molding because not only that, the algorithms change all the time. So you got to figure out what they want to see. So it's good sometimes to, read the comments or see what the people saying or what's trending and then jump on it. Even though that might not be what you do, kind of, throw what you love in it. Don't get rid of stuff you love, but you have to find out what's working. And if it's working for somebody else, it can work for you. Don't copy it verbatim, but just change it. And then there you go. So
have you had always, you said comedy or comedic, like, and you talk about writing. I mean, have you done stand-up? Have you done?
No, man, it's crazy, man, because I hated English. I mean, seriously, man, I hate English. I hate writing, but there's something about it, man. It's like I can tell a story and put it out there, and then people, even if I get one person say, man, I love that, man. I'm like, for real? Like, you people like it. Let me write a little bit more. And as I wrote, I got better at it. Like I said, that was by far my worst subject. So it's just, I never did stand up, man. I just always crack jokes and over the years. And then I just realized I could do it on a huge platform, which is amazing, man. You know what I mean? And I think you said something about what did you say? Something about like I started on TikTok and I used that. The space. That's what you were saying. Like the space of podcasts is so busy. So when I started on YouTube is huge. That's what I was telling my girl. I said, we hit 500K. YouTube is huge. She's like, yeah. I said, no, you're not realizing. That's right now for me. I'm more happy than that than almost 3 million on TikTok. YouTube is huge. Yeah, I said, that's huge. And I said, it took me to get my face out there to 2+ million on TikTok for them to realize when I come to YouTube, then they see, okay, I know this face. I'm familiar. I'm following or subscribing. So it took me to build off that wave because I got in early on TikTok. So that was the little waves, like you were saying, like the metaverse. I'm not familiar with that, but if you get in there early, like you were saying, and build that and then come back, because I always wanted to start on YouTube. I didn't know nothing about TikTok. So then I'm starting to build here. Yeah. So yeah, man, piggyback off of that, man. Jump into that.
Yeah, well, that's how it was. When back in when did we graduate college? 2009, and I don't know when podcasting actually
so many years ago.
Well, I don't know when. All right, so I don't know when. I guess my point is I don't know when podcasting actually was a format or when it started, but I know it's been going 10+ years. Yeah, when was the first?
Well, it used to be like radio shows have been a thing since the 20s, and all podcasting is a resurfacing on the internet. Like Howard Stern had a podcast. Who was it? George. Orson Welles had a podcast, and War of the Worlds was a podcast. In theory, it's a story. So it's been around. It's not a new medium. We just rebranded it as something.
That's a good point. Just because now we rebranded it as a podcast, where Howard Stern had his own thing, which basically he was interviewing, people with controversial takes or whatever they did in life. I don't know if controversial is the right word, but nobody called it a podcast then, right? But so
it's a radio show,
right there. Exactly. That made me think of? It's like the eBay and then the Amazon. Amazon or the MySpace and the Facebook.
Sure.
It's just rechanged it, rebranded it, do a little tweaks, and there you go. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And that's like the podcast. Podcasters are huge. I don't know about it, but I was telling my girl, I was like, bro, we might want to get into this like deep because this is it, especially video podcasting and stuff like that, So I've been watching different people like it's crazy. So if people watching it, you got to get into it.
Yeah. And getting into it, Alex, and this is what I wanted to ask you also, that, when you started out with TikTok, right, and you were grinding, and now that, how many followers or whatever, 3 million?
It's almost 2.9.
Did that change your mindset or how you started, doing things? Did you kind of like, ooh, now I have 2.9 billion people like watching me?
Man, I never,
compared to like your day one to day, whatever it is right now.
I never stopped the grind. It was crazy because I always told my girls, like, I can do this. My mindset is always like, I always go for the long term. I don't know why I've thought like that. I was like always long term. So I was telling her, like when we had our first million, I said, when we get to 1 million, I'll slow down. Because she's like, this is too many. You always do. I went even harder. I went even harder. I can't. And then it's just like, I brought her into it. I brought her into the space. It was, she started to enjoy it, see my vision. Because when in reality, it's hard for somebody else to see your vision. You know what I mean? Your goal, your dream. You saying this stuff, but they think, nah, come on, you gonna get 1 million followers. Like, really? You're not, who are you? But then when they start seeing a ball rolling and they backing and they part of it, it's like, wow, you can do this. We can do this. There you go. But that was it, man. It's just like I went even harder because I realized what you can do. I can do it here. And then I was just like, man, Instagram is so hard. I thought Instagram was so hard because it shows, like on TikTok, I can like it. It don't tell nobody what you like it. But on Instagram, it just show your name, or like a Facebook, it show your name, and then everybody's nosy and like, I'm not gonna give them a like because they're gonna know I liked it, but they're watching it. So it's like, how do you crack this code Instagram? So I just kept going. And that's it, just like YouTube, just kept going. So
what's weird? Like kind of what you said, that I remember I think it was 2017, 2016, when I first told somebody I wanted to start a podcast, right? And they answered just like, why? Like, that's stupid. Like, what? Yeah, like that's like, it was like such a dream crusher right there. And I'll let it get to me because I was like, well, I guess they're right. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe like, because it was instantly like, oh, why are you doing that? Because there's so many out there. I mean, why would you even try to do that? One, you're not going to make any money off of it or do anything like that. And I was like, fuck.
You know what, Chris? I think people put their fears on other people, friends, family, all that. It's like, John come to me and tell me about the podcast. Nah, you shouldn't do that. It's me being scared of what's can happen. Or if you quit your job, it's like, I'm quitting my job, I'm gonna do this full time. Oh, why would you do it? Now I'm spiking all my fears on you, and then it gets in your head, and then you won't do it. No, man, do it. Yes. Because it can be done. Because if somebody's already doing it, why can't you? They're human. That's no different.
Yeah, well, let's go back to earlier in the podcast. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team or whatever, right?
Tell it, man. Now you're talking.
And he didn't let that stop him, obviously. And now look at him. But so and I was listening to Aaron Rodgers on a podcast, going back to the sports, I guess again. But he had a teacher or counselor, it was somebody, I forgot who it was, but in high school or whatever, they were like, "You're never going to make it in the NFL, so don't even try." Because they asked, "What you want to do in life?" He said, "Oh, I want to be an NFL quarterback." And he could, I don't guess he'd be making the story up. I hope he wouldn't, but
right.
He said, and that's what he said he wanted to do. And she's like, "Why? Like, that's, like the most ridiculous thing ever. You'll never make it." And he was like, "Wow. Okay." Just because he used that as motivation. Like,
see, that's the main thing. It's like some people will crush them, dream crusher. It'd be like, or it can spark that fire, and he will that's what I said. It lived with him. If he's still talking about it as an adult, that's that fuel. And he can, and sometimes that's what it's like. I call it like lighter fluid. Somebody put that lighter fluid on you, and then you're like, I'm gonna prove them. And it's not a bad thing, but guess what? You're gonna see me. Watch me, and you're gonna know.
Teacher every day and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, guess what I'm doing?"
Love will move mountains, but hate will obliterate right through them.
I mean, man, but it's just those. That's why I say people put their fear on you, and that's friends and family, and it does. And sometimes they try to look out for you, but it's not looking out for you because they don't see your dream like you do.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't think nobody will see your dream like you do. It's your dream, your goals, your vision. But if you find somebody that can support you in that, man, it's amazing, because just like my girl, that full support. She made these shirts today. It didn't matter. You know, my daughter is full support, and just us three, it's a blessing. So, but
sure. No, I agree 100%, man. You're saying we're on the same wavelength right here, and just that, you find out who's in your corner and who's not in your corner just by
fast.
Yeah, exactly. Just when you first tell them that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, "Nah, bro, don't do that. That's stupid." But then, if and when you do have a 3 million follower thing on TikTok or whatever, it's like people start coming to you. Hey, can I be on your TikTok? Yeah. Hey, man.
Yeah, everybody's best friends now.
Hey,
so
yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I knew. Or it's like this. I knew you can do
it. Oh yeah, then they come and tell you, huh?
Yeah, man. It's like
it's weird.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, man. But that's why I always tell people, man, just stay consistent in what you do. You will make it, because you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And as I got older, man, I realized you got to take more risks. There's something that held me back too. Is when I was younger, I was always wanted to be stable. Like, make sure everything is stable. What if I lose my job? Okay. If they fire me, I'll go find another one. Why don't do it on my turn? Just leave when I'm ready. So it's just like, this a juggle, man. Open up the door and go. Well, try, because we live one time, man.
Get out of that fear mindset.
Oh man, because it's just like I tell people too. It's like, if you had the mindset like a child is like always exploring until we get older, and then you put those roadblocks because this will hurt or whatever. But if we had that mindset that constantly stay exploring, everybody. I mean, a lot of people will be very successful.
Well, going back, do you think that I lost my train of thought. Talking about mindset and everything. Mm-hmm. I forgot where I was going with my point. That mindset. Now I'm lost. All right.
Oh, it's all good,
man. But it is. I had a great. It'll come to me now because it was a great question. Hold on. Well, anyway, we can move on. It'll hit me again. But damn, what was?
But no, I really think it's key. No, I really think it's key. It's like, even when you start your day, if you tell yourself this day is going to be shitty, whatever, it's going to be shitty. Mm-hmm. And like when you start off, I started listening to motivation and stuff like that. You get to ask my girl, I listen to every single day. It's just to get my mind in the right set. You know what I mean? So it's just like, once that's done, then whatever comes to me, I'm already got my mind already on this level. You can't bring me down here. So I just keep it pushing.
I'll go biblical, not on purpose, but because of the point.
Don't take it.
There's the quote. It's seek and ye shall find, and I think that it's doesn't matter where you pull that from. Mm-hmm. If you start your mind in the morning and you're looking for closed doors and people who are doing better, people who are achieving what you can't, you're just going to see people achieving what you feel like you can't do. But if you go out and you're like, I'm looking for opportunities, I'm looking to see and learn from people who are doing more, I'm looking to learn, I'm looking to be better, all of a sudden you start finding these things because it's what you're looking for. So,
man, that's good right there. I like that, because it's true. It is true, man. It is true, because even if they're talking good to you, you're going to close that out, because like you're going to close it out. It's there. You're not taking it in, but I'm going to close that because I can't do that. It's going to put something negative on top of that. No, man. People kick game. You just got to peak game. You got to take game in. All right, well, shoot, you're doing it. You're going to tell me all the stuff that you did. I ain't got to, fell at it. I'm 10 steps ahead where you started.
That was my point. And it came back to what you said, Alex, that listening to people and talking, having these big followings and stuff. And I mean, do you read your comments? And I'm assuming you probably do, does that affect you? Because it's like, trying to, everybody wants to make everybody happy, right? Everybody wants to be liked, but there's also going to be some haters out there and just be like, hey man, fuck you, just because of X, Y, and Z, because they're mad about something or whatever. But how do you deal with that? I mean, it's like, do you go down there, or do you read your comments? Do you not read them? I mean, or do you get inspired off of them? Kind of like we were talking about with Aaron Rodgers, or what?
Man, I tell people, man, you gotta have tough skin. You gotta realize everybody's got an opinion. Friends, family, everybody's got an opinion. Sure. And when you get somebody behind the internet with 0 followers and no profile pictures, he got the biggest opinion. So why letting that ruin your day? It's just like, you got 50% of the people telling you you're doing good, 50% of the people saying you're doing bad. You're going to go listen to these bad. No, you're doing good. Put out what you want. You know what I mean? I tell people to take a break from comments sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it can be raw, uncut, whatever. But I know my vision. I know what I would do. I know everybody's not going to like what I do. So I can't please everybody. Sure. It's just like right now, we don't like all the same foods. So it's just like, you know what I mean? So people really got to step back and be like, and I've seen it. I've seen some heavy hitters just go back and forth in comments with a person that they don't even know got 2 followers. And it's like, oh, I'm so sick and tired. I'm not going to post. I'm like, no. I had to talk them off the list. I said, don't let that person get to you. You don't know them. You know what I mean? So sure. It's just like, you take a break from the comments. It's okay. Your people still love you, and keep producing, because in the end, that's just what they want to see anyway. And then most of the time, let the haters be there. That means you're doing something right. And then your haters going to be your bigger supporters because they want to see you fail. So they're watching everything you do. Let them watch. Enjoy the show.
Yes.
Man, I love it. Come on with it.
Oh, damn, Alex.
Yeah, man. So man, just keep it coming, man. They're not going to hate on somebody on the side of the road not doing nothing. No. The more haters you got, the better you're doing. Obviously, keep it rolling, man. Stay within your skin. Stay within your values. You know what I mean? Keep your dreams in your forefront and keep going for it, because you're going to have haters. I don't care who you do. What you do. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, keep doing you, man.
Alex, what is being a TikToker, a podcaster, or whatever you want to say, a gamer that we said earlier? What is your highest value that you hold to yourself?
Highest value? Definitely my family, man. It's like my background is deep, but being able to be a man, get full custody of my daughter, take care of her with no problems, then find my beautiful girlfriend to help after many years after that. You know what I mean? That's and then be able to do this with my girls. It's a blessing, man, because we can make videos on the go, write things out for business wise, and enjoy it. So we're having fun. We make a couple videos and it's paid for. But my main thing is, the biggest thing of all of it is time. It's not the money, it's time, something we can never get back. Something that we can never get back. And I tell people, do not chase money, chase time. Bro, it took me a while to realize it. It took me a while to realize, man, like this right here, where I'm able to take off from my main job a lot and do this, and I'm at home more. Can't beat it, man. Time.
Time waits for no one. I know that, man.
Oh, man.
We're blessed. I guess we are blessed with this finite amount of time on this planet. That one thing we were talking about earlier in the podcast that I wish that I knew, that I know now, that I wish I would have knew when I was younger, that time waits for no one. And that, wow, because it's like, when you're 18 and you're 16 and like, we're all in our mid-30s or whatever. Oh man, these guys are fucking old right now. So really, they're not. We're not, right?
Right.
Watch your tone.
Right.
I used to think like stuff like that, and listen to what people say, and like being scared to take chances and take a risk at whatever. And just that I was like, I don't know. I guess that was maybe some insecurities. Just like, well, maybe they are right or whatever. But like, I wish now that's when I first said that. Okay, whatever. I'm coming up on 2 years of my podcast. That I wish I would have said, screw everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And just that. Whatever happens, it happens. And that way, even in 10 years from now, I don't have to look back on my life and be like, damn,
the regret.
Yeah. And just like, hey, do I, looking back on my life, am I going to wish I actually took the chance, or am I going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm good with it,
Right. There was a doctor, I did a CDL test, and he told me I just turned 30. And he's like, or 31 or something like that. He's like, randomly told me, just like, man, you in your prime. He said, whatever you want to do it now. And I was like, what? He's like, no. This is your prime years. Everybody think it's, you're 30, kill it. And I sat there, I blew it off. And then like a week later, it dawned on me. I'm like, why did he tell me that? It was just random. And then as I go more, I've been going harder than I ever went in my 30s. It was just like that spark, man. It's like I needed to hear that too. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Just we are prime, man. And then my thing is too is like, listen to Gary. He always says, start now. For anybody, no matter what age you are, start now. If that's what you want to do, start now.
Yeah.
Because when you just keep talking about it, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. I don't know how much John told you about me, but I'm one of these CrossFit bros, and that's one of the biggest things is that I always hear.
I didn't warn him.
Okay. But like people are always asking about CrossFit and stuff like that. And when I start telling them about it, and I was like, yeah, come join or whatever. But they're always saying that, well, I'll get in shape first and then I'll come do CrossFit or whatever. It's like, no, like you'll get in shape for whatever by just doing it. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to take it to the level I am, but just come in and start doing it, right? Just don't go do X, Y, and Z. And if you really want to do something, get after it, bro, and just come do it. And that's show up. And like you're saying, being consistent. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Like if somebody were to ask me, what have I learned now that I wish I would know when I was younger? Like you said, Alex, be consistent and just keep showing up. And that's like 95% of the fucking work.
Right. I say take butt out of your dang on vocabulary, because anything out the butt is an excuse. But you know what I'm saying? It's like always, but take it out the vocabulary. Certain words got to go. It really do. It really got to go.
Yeah, that's what I try to say. Like when people say I can't do something, it's like, well,
I hate that one too.
Yeah, man. And like and I'm not trying to be like some person on their high horse, but I try to say, it's like, oh, I can't do that right now. It's like, no, yeah, you can. Maybe you can't do it right now, but don't say that. Don't get like you were talking about earlier. Like we were talking about earlier in a podcast, talking to yourself all day. Don't say that stuff. It's like, hey, I'm going to work at it until I can do it. Just don't keep telling yourself I can't.
There's a blind guy that does mountain biking, and
wow,
like it was incredible. He does the clicking thing, and he can echolocate trees.
Like Daredevil.
And, yeah, and he's able to process it by hearing, and he knows his surroundings. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen online. Dude's going down, and it's like, is he just legally blind? He's like, no, he's blind. And he said the craziest part was that he didn't know the depth of any hole after like 6 inches or something. He's like, I don't know if it's a mile down or 6 inches down. He's like, but the things around me he could hear. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
But yeah, if a blind guy can do mountain biking, I'm pretty sure you can do a little bit of anything. Like that's what my dad taught me. He's like, you can do a little bit of what anybody can do a whole lot of.
Amen. I agree with it.
Well, folks, we're getting about that time.
I see you're very punctual when the sports are coming up at 8.
I think that's a good way. I think that's a good way to wrap up this podcast. Before we go though, we talked about we'll come full circle right here. We talked about Cowboys and Eagles in the beginning of the podcast. What do you got, Alex? What do you got, John? I think Eagles.
Best. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are getting 6.5 points. Who's your pick tonight?
Man, you got my Cowboys,
man. Dumb question, right? Clown question.
Cowboys, man. What you got, John?
I'd like to see the Cowboys win, but are we going to with who's going to win though? That's my question. That's different.
That's true.
But anyway, no.
Well, Chris, you wanna start closing us out, and I'll wind it down.
I thought that'd be a good point right there. Just end on that, come full circle. That. But anyway, Alex, John, if you want to plug anything, whoever wants to go first, it doesn't matter to me. But if y'all want to plug your TikTok, your podcast, whatever, feel free to do that. Whoever wants to go. Maybe we should go by Alex first and John. Whoever wants to do it.
Everything, all social, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. What else I got? Instagram, all at 1B1GL. And I appreciate this, fellas. Thank you.
Yeah, Alex. John, what's up?
Dude, first of all, love chatting with you guys. For those of you who do know me, I am Big John W. This will be on special guests of your week with John W. And I think both Chris and I will be using this content because we're shameless in that aspect. And we'll also be sending it over to Alex to chop it up and make it look really, really good. He'll throw it out on an Instagram or two, maybe a face like this. But yeah, check me out on YouTube. And I'll be adding some additional stuff, be following in the footsteps of giants like Chris and adding it to, Google and Apple so that you can listen to it there. Thanks. Appreciate you having me, buddy.
Rose, thanks again for doing this. It was, we talked a lot. I think we threw out some good content, but I appreciate y'all being here. And this was a lot of fun for me. Like getting in the same mindset as y'all too. And surround yourself with the best people you know in life, right? And you'll go.
Amen. That's how you grow. Let's get it. Let me know on the next time.
Bro. All right, folks, we're out of here. Good news and good night.
Peace out, bro.